I thought I'd go over a couple of slides since I'm not sure how much we looked at them in the lab. But this is one of the slides from the taxonomy, second animal taxonomy lab, diversity 2, whatever you'd like to call it. This is a cross section through a nematode worm, commonly called roundworms. This is a male, so there's a little difference between the males and females internally. Of course, these are mostly packed with gonads. What you see right here, this is a section through all this big worm-like looking thing here is actually the intestine. Then all the rest of the material in here, like these things here and these slightly bigger ones here, reproductive structures. The small ones, I'll shade one in yellow, here, here, here. Those are testes, and these bigger ones are usually the vas deferens. There is a ventral nerve cord down here, and associated with the nervous system, there's a bit of a lateral line system on the side here. See a little bit of muscle here. These are pseudocoelomate. That is, the internal organs are not all covered in mesoderm. The inside here, that's just the intestine, which is endoderm, and mesoderm here, there's no sort of serous membranes, no mesoderm lining the internal organs. So they're called a pseudocoelom because it is still a body cavity. This is still a body cavity. It's not solid, but both sides aren't lined with mesoderm. That makes it a pseudocoelom. I think that's all you need with this one. This is on the same slide. Your cross-section slide has a male and a female. This one is a female, and again, you see the large intestine here, the pseudocoelom here, and you've got, this is packed full of eggs. Those are oocytes in there. And you'll probably see a lot of these little tubes here are oviducts, oviducts, oviducts carrying out the eggs. And again, you know, you'll have a ventral nerve cord here. Can't really see the lateral line as well on this one. I think it's right here. But again, this is a nematode worm. Ascaris is the genus. And you've got the male and female couple parts to identify. That's about all you need. All right, here's just one of your examples from the microscope slides from the phylum Porifera. It's a sponge, small sponge. I believe this is Grantia. And you've got right here, you know, it's a spongiocele. Osculum is the main opening here. Ostium might be little openings on the side. Can't really see those. It's just a peripherin. This is also Grantia. You can see the spongiocele still here in the middle, the open central cavity. This one, they've digested away most of the organics, so what you've got are just a bunch of spicules. Look at this one under higher magnification, and you'll see the little spiky spicules strewn about in the shape of what was the sponge. So again, phylum Porifera. And this one's just a slightly higher magnification. Again, it's just a cross-section through a Grantia through a small sponge, phylum Porifera. The cells at our magnifications, you can't resolve much, but these little bumpy things you see hanging out over here at this magnification, those are likely choanocytes, the cells that create the currents and filter the food. So just a little bit higher magnification so you can see some of the sponges, but again, not a lot of complexity in the body. All right, this one, this is phylum Cnidaria. This is actually a hydra, which is in the class Hydrozoa. It's a sort of longitudinal section. So you'll see the gastrovascular cavity here. You can see the mouth would have been up at this end somewhere, coming through here. You'll see the mesoglia is very thin right about there. So you've got an outer layer of the epidermis, and you've got the inner layer, which is a gastrodermis. I'll put a higher magnification on it a bit. These little bits are just sections through the tentacles. That's part of a tentacle. So this one, you just need to know the phylum Cnidaria. I wouldn't expect you necessarily to know the class is Hydrozoa, but it's not too bad because you know it's a hydra. This is the same slide, much higher magnification. There's a little mesoglia squeezed between them, kind of that dark line. Again, hydrozoans, not a lot of mesoglia. That's gastrodermis here, gastrovascular cavities here. Epidermis is out here. And these little oval bits you can see right here, those are the cnidocytes. So some of the stinging cells are actually pretty clear on this particular section. But again, class is Cnidaria, or sorry, phylum is Cnidaria. Class would be Hydrozoa, but I think just phylum would do on that one. All right, this whole thing, it is in the phylum Cnidaria. This is a hydrozoan. What you're seeing here is a colonial polyp, sort of upside down. This would be where it'd be attached at the base. Down at this end would be the base somewhere. and a bunch of colonial polyps sticking out. Now, what's kind of neat with this one, these polyps that look, like a standard polyp have tentacles sticking out. Those are the feeding polyps, gastrozoids, they sometimes call them. They'll capture prey, nematocysts, all of that. These gonozoids, they're kind of reproductive polyps. They're specialized to produce these little medusas. So this whole thing is a polyp, but these are little medusa buds that will branch off and kind of swim away for dispersal. Again, colonial polyp. It is phylum Cnidaria, and the class is Hydrozoa. These little things, of course, they're medusas. That's what budded off of that reproductive polyp, that asexually reproducing polyp. These little medusas swim around water. You got tentacles, mouth would be at this end. They're a little kind of inverted in the slide, but it's just an example of a medusa, the mobile form, and it's in the phylum Cnidaria. This is the anterior end of the phylum Platyhelminthes. Those are the flatworms. These have a solid body, no coelom at all, and all you can see on this slide is kind of the anterior half. You got some eye spots here, mainly for detecting light and dark. They don't form any images. And this is their very branching gastrovascular cavity. All of this is dark stuff. They've just injected the gastrovascular cavity so you can see it. Class is Turbellaria. These are free-living flatworms. This one, I'm also going to put it in phylum Platyhelminthes, and the class is Turbellaria, free-living flatworm. Now, some people have now split this off into a different group. I believe they split the phylum. But this is a small marine flatworm. You can't see much in there. All these little dots you see all over the body wall here, those are symbiotic algae. These are commensals, I think, on some soft corals. This is a small marine species. These are like half a centimeter, a third of a centimeter long, so they're not very large, but they have symbiotic algae in them. It is a platyhelminthes, is a flatworm.